Hi guys, welcome to my channel, and how are y'all doing today? Let me know if you're an OG and you recognize that intro. I put in my old intro just for fun. So let me know if you remember that, if you've been around for that long. Here on Abby the Witch, we talk all things witchcraft. If that is something you can vibe with, you can go ahead and hit subscribe. You can also follow me over on other platforms like Instagram and Patreon, Abby the Witch, just like it is here. So here today on Abby the Witch, we are finally going to be doing the gray cord video. I decided to do this kind of a Q&A style because I could just talk on and on about what a gray cord is, but I feel like so many people have come at me with so many specific questions about the gray cord that I figured I would just gather all your questions and just do a Q&A. So the most popular question that I got was, what is a gray cord? A lot of people don't even know what it is or even what cords are within traditional witchcraft. So I am affiliated with, not initiated into, but affiliated with the SCC, or the Solar Court Coven, which is a traditional witchcraft-based coven here in the Indianapolis area. Within tradcraft covens, there is traditionally an inner court and an outer court. Inner court are the people that have been initiated. So these are coven initiates, these are coven members. The outer court are what consists of the coven, what I call coven affiliates, or what SEC lovingly calls coven cousins, right? They're not necessarily siblings, they're not initiated, but they're recognized as friends or coven or cousins of the coven. Traditionally speaking, so within tradcraft, it's actually usually a green cord, right? Because it's supposed to symbolize the greening or the growing of a witch. SCC uses gray because gray represents that liminality of the coven cousin, right? You're not an initiate, but you're not a stranger either. You're kind of in that in-between space. So they decided to make that cord be gray, and I love that. I love that they recognize the liminality of that. As a trad witch, liminality in general is very important to me, and I use it in my personal practice. So I think that's really cool. And I think it also kind of represents my genderqueerness in a way too. Like, I just really like it. Okay, so Gannon with the letter 4 asked on Instagram, gray cord, never heard of it. What does it mean? And what are the other cords? So obviously I already answered what is a gray cord. The other cords within trad space, you'll see the colors red, black, and white repeated a lot within tradcraft, right? So the other cords are red, black, and white. First degrees wear white, second degrees wear black, and third degrees wear red. Okay, I had to double check that, but because I'm not an initiate, so I don't have that memorized. But within the coven itself, there are different degrees, right? Where you have to kind of initiate into and work your way up if you so choose to. So each level, so to speak, has its own color of cord, right? And by the way, if you don't know what cords represent in general, within a coven, like a trad witch coven, cords kind of tie us all together. It represents our energies being tied and weaving magic together. As a gray cord, I'm not really tied, so to speak. I'm more tied to tradcraft in general. But being a non-initiate, I'm not really necessarily tied energetically with any of the members, if that makes sense. Okay, this person has a lot of questions. Below the Tamaracks on YouTube asked, she has a lot of questions. Is the cord just a status, or is it an empowered tool with its own powers that you can use in ritual? I love this question. It's a great question. It's not just a symbol. It is a symbol, but it's also a tool, okay? This cord, let me get it. I don't know why I don't have it to show you. So this is my gray cord, okay? And as you can see, it's like 3 different pieces of string braided together. okay? So a witch that I never even met, that was used to be a part of SCC, wove my gray cord together, right? And while she was weaving it together, braiding it together, she would put different intentions into it, protect this witch, infuse her with whatever, right? She was putting different intentions into it as she was braiding it. So that alone gives this tool, gives this symbol power, right? I also wear it when I go do ritual with SCC. So that magic that we weave together is also infused into this cord. I've used this to protect myself if I go to like a graveyard, from any spirits that might want to come home with me or anything like that. I use this to protect myself from something like that. So yeah, it definitely does have some power, and it's definitely a tool. Are there specific oaths and obligations that come with the gray cord? Not really. I mean, the only thing really is that you are required, at least in SCC, this is specifically just with SCC, I know that we are required to go to at least 2 Sabbats a year. If we want to keep our gray cord status, we have to go to at least 2 open Sabbats a year. Does a gray cord member have its own kind of dedication or initiation ceremony? There's really no dedication, I would say, because we're not initiated, really. Yeah, there's really no initiation ceremony because, again, we're not initiated into the coven. But we do get a gray cord from the high priestess. So, I mean, there definitely is like a little ceremony that happens. Yeah, it's I'm kind of a unique situation because I didn't take my gray cord when I thought I was going to, so we had to like meet separately. So I don't really, yeah, they kind of just tie the giving out the gray cords in with like another Sabbat, if that makes sense. So there's no like special like grand initiation or anything like that. You pretty much just say, the high priestess will say, what does this gray cord mean to you? What does this mean to you? You say what it means to you. You get the gray cord, she ties it around your waist, and you're a gray cord. What is the best part of being a gray cord? Why do you continue being one? Why not become a different cord? I like being a gray cord because I do not have the time, if I'm being honest, to be a coven initiate. Being a coven member, if you're in a legit coven like SCC, right? It's a commitment. It's a commitment. Like, you have to show up and do the work with your coven members. I mean, things come up and they understand, but it's a huge commitment, right? And I don't have the time right now to fully commit to being a coven member. I just don't. So I like the gray cord because yes, I get that experience. I still get that privilege of being a part of SCC, but I'm not an initiate. So I'm only required to really show up to 2 Sabbats a year. I can show up to however many I want as long as it's open. There are closed Sabbats that only initiates can go to. But yeah, I like that. And I like the liminality aspect of a gray cord. Like, I like that I'm kind of floating there in between. Assuming a gray cord is for a special guest trusted friend, is it lonely, hard knowing you're not a real member and that there may be details not shared with you? Again, this is all from the same person. She listed a whole bunch of questions. No, it's really not. Again, I personally really like it. As a gray cord too, I am welcome to try to take the next steps to be initiated if I would like to. But I don't know. I guess knowing that, it makes me feel less quote unquote lonely. But I like being a gray cord. I respect the closed Sabbats and the privacy of the coven and the coven initiates. I respect that privacy wholeheartedly. So no, it doesn't really bother me. I don't, it's not like I'm a gray cord because I'm an outcast or something. Like it's not like that. What has been your most memorable experience as a gray cord? Probably receiving my gray cord. So just a little over a year ago, I received my gray cord. And it was a really cool experience. You know, it was really emotional. You know, I could feel myself being put into that liminal space. So yeah, it was really cool and I'll never forget it. The Voniness on YouTube, which if you do not follow her, go follow her. She's a lovely person. The Voniness on YouTube asks, how has your practice changed in the course of the year? Are your beliefs still the same or have ones expanded and others no longer apply? So I'm assuming this is because I've been a gray cord for a year, have my beliefs changed or anything like that. I mean, it has changed a little bit over the year, naturally, right? Now, because I'm a gray cord, I don't know. I don't think specifically because I'm a gray cord it has. Maybe in a sense that like I'm aware that I have my gray cord and so I use it as a tool now in my practice. So in that way, like it's changed a little bit just because I've added a tool to my personal practice. My beliefs a year ago, no. Because I'm a gray cord, no, not really. Maybe like in some ways, like since I know now that I'm affiliated with a coven that's specifically ATW, American Traditional Witchcraft, or traditional witchcraft, I've kind of been wanting to learn a little bit more about like how you specifically run a ritual within a trad space, right? So, I mean, but just going to Sabbats with SEC, like being a part of that and doing circle with the coven, has made me want to learn about that too, you know? So yeah, I guess yes and no in some ways. Jasmine the Sage on Instagram asked pretty much the same thing. How has this changed your practice, if at all? Yeah, again, it hasn't really, specifically being a gray cord hasn't really changed my practice at all. I feel like if I became a coven initiate, it would definitely change my personal practice because I'd be doing so much magic with other people and so much divination with other people, right? So I feel like that would inevitably affect and change and alter my personal practice, right? Because I'd be coming home with all of these different experiences and messages that it would, again, inevitably change my personal practice. You know what I mean? So yeah, but being a gray cord, I go to open Sabbath, so it's not as, I mean, it's still ritual. It's still like we're doing witchcraft together, but again, it's only 2 a year, sometimes more, but it's not as intimate as when I'm assuming it's not as intimate as what they do in a closed ritual, right? As just the coven initiates in the dark half of the year. Most of the dark half of the year is when they're closed. So yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming. Anyway, I hope that answered more. Nate the Wizard on Instagram also asks, what sort of abilities come with being a gray cord? So being a gray cord, you have the ability to initiate into the coven or apply for initiation if you so choose to. Now, there's more to it than that. Like, you definitely have to like approach the high priestess and ask about this, and you can't just like say, hey, initiate me, like it's just because I'm a gray cord, right? But it does kind of open that opportunity to you. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. As a gray cord, I can also go to open Sabbats. Whereas when I wasn't a gray cord, I would have to be invited by an initiate, right? So as a gray cord, I think I also, I've never done this before, so I'm not positive, but I think I also can invite someone myself to an open Sabbat. As long as I check with the high priestess, I think, or the other coven members. But I think I can invite a friend also to an open Sabbat if I ever wanted to. All right, guys, so that is all the questions you guys had. I thought I had a lot more for some reason. Maybe I just answered really fast. If you guys have any more questions about the gray cords after watching this video, leave them down below. I would be more than happy to answer them for you. That's all I have for today, guys. And until next time, I hope you stay very well. And don't forget to follow the snake. Bye.